Hi friends, and welcome to our midweek update for today, January 22nd, 2025. Welcome to this week's update. And yes, I know it's 22nd. I'm just trying to have a little fun, and I've had a lot of caffeine today. So let's jump in. Here's a couple things that I want you to know, and then one chapter of the Bible that I'm encouraging you to read right along with me. This is the month that we are collecting shoes for our caring center. And so I said this on a couple weeks ago. If you've got new shoes for Christmas, great time to retire some old shoes that you're no longer using. Drop them in the blue bins around the campus, and we will give them a second life by giving them to those who are in need through our Caring Center ministry. Also, it's not too late to be a part of our midweek at First. A lot of great opportunities. Women's studies, men's studies going on. I'm even teaching through 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and you can join that study at any point. So anytime you want to pop in on a Wednesday night, meals at 5, and the studies begin at 6 o'clock. And then finally, the last Sunday of this month, the Sunday that's coming up, January 26th, is our Foundation for First Sunday. So we do have a First Baptist Foundation. Let me try to say that again. First Baptist Foundation. And our foundation exists to benefit the ministry of this church until Christ returns. And so if you give a gift to the foundation, the interest of that will go to support ministries at First Baptist Tulsa. Part of the foundation's ministry is also encouraging people to have an estate plan. And especially if you're an adult with children, you need to have an estate plan to make sure your wishes are known and followed at the time that you go home to meet the Lord. So I would encourage you to listen very closely this Sunday, and I'm sending some information to your community group directors. We'll also be able to share that with you in small group, and you'll hear a little bit about that during our gathered worship time on the 26th. All right, so Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and I want to remind you that the book of Ecclesiastes is wisdom literature, meaning, and by the way, if you hear a choir singing in the background, it's angels start to sing every time I talk. That's just kind of what happens. No, we have our collegiate choirs, intercollegiate honor choirs that are meeting in our campus, and they're just outside our studio. So if you hear it, just enjoy the sound of my voice and enjoy the sound of angelic music as well. So Ecclesiastes 2, Ecclesiastes is wisdom literature, meaning that there are some things you can only learn by experience. And so this teacher that's guiding us through this book of Ecclesiastes is saying, listen, I've learned some things. I've searched for the meaning of life, and I've searched for it in a lot of different places. At the end of chapter 1, he said, I searched for meaning in education. I mean, how much do we worry about education? We want to get our kids into the finest schools. We want to have the finest degrees, right? So many of us are driven by that. But the meaning of life is not found in that. In chapter 2, what I'm asking you to read this week, the writer says, I've searched for meaning in pleasure. I've tried to have a party all the time and try to just enjoy the best things of life. Is that where meaning is found? That also comes up empty for him. And then he says, now I tried to find meaning in affluence and success. Is that where meaning is? Just step back for a minute. And the book of Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun. Well, that's really true. From the time this was written to our own day, 3,000 years, but how many of us still try to search for life's meaning and being the smartest and the brightest and being the most successful and having the most fun? And in the end, the writer says, it just all falls short, meaningless, right? So that's not meant to be a downer. It's meant to be a wake-up call for us. Because as you get to the end of chapter 2, there's a few things, and if you're not careful, you'll just read right past them. You can strive to achieve all these things in life, or you can allow God to supply these things for you. God will supply you the opportunity to learn and to be successful and to enjoy life. But it's not about striving for these things. It's about letting God supply these things. And instead of searching for meaning in your life, what would happen if you search for God? Because if you search for meaning, you'll never find it. But if you search for God, meaning has a way of finding you. And he says God gives wisdom and knowledge and happiness to those who seek him instead of seeking meaning. Just a bit of perspective, something you can only learn by experience. And maybe you're at that point, you've learned enough in life where you go, you know what? I've tried pursuing success and knowledge and pleasure, and it all seems empty. Perhaps it's time to truly, not in name only, calling yourself a Christian, but to truly seek God. So that's Ecclesiastes chapter 2. We'll continue next week. Love being your pastor, love serving alongside you. Let's continue to grow in our relationship with the Lord together. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.